Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Seth Manfield and today I am going to be going over a Sultai deck in Standard here on MTG Arena. And this is kind of the Golgari Splash Blue deck for Hydroid Krasis. As you can see, the deck has, in the early goings in this new Standard format, put up a lot of good results already. Seems to be one of the front runners in the entire format. So this is the deck. If you're familiar with Golgari, it should look pretty familiar. We see Hydroid Krasis here, possibly the most significant mythic in Ravnica Allegiance, a similar explore package to Golgari, one incubation druid, which is kind of in your wild growth walker slot, and yeah, a couple one-ofs, hostage taker, Karn, some additional counter spells in the sideboard. We have some discard, Cry of the Carnarium, a card that I like quite a bit, an infest type spell. So the Carnage Tyrants are actually not in the main, they are on the side because we're playing with the Hydroid Krasises, and it turns out that this card allows you to really get the gas flowing. So yeah, this is the deck, and we are going to play an event here. Best of 3 matches. And I'm excited to show this off to you all. I've been really impressed with the deck so far. So hopefully in this event I can help showcase what it's capable of, some of the sideboarding concepts, and why Krasis is as good as it is. That's my hope here. Okay, let's see what we have here. So we actually have turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Jade Light Ranger, kind of all queued up, ready to go. So we will definitely be doing that. And it looks like our opponent, on the other hand here, was forced to take a mulligan. So pretty good start. I don't think we need to shock here. We do have the double basic draw. So our opponent led on Steam Vents. Hard to say if we want the cast down, because we could be against, is it Drakes, or we could be against Jeskai Control, or another deck. So, here I think we do want to go ahead and shock. Plays around Syncopate, Vraska's Contempt. I guess we'll put that on top. The Contempt on top. I think the play is to just get in there. Our opponent could have a card like Deafening Clarion ready to go, and we don't really need to get this Elves onto the board this exact turn. Oh wow. So yeah, this could be short game. That being said, we don't know what our opponent is really playing. So if they just concede here, it puts us in a little bit of a difficult spot when sideboarding. It wouldn't really make sense for them to be Is It Drakes and not be able to cast anything. there. So I think we're supposed to sideboard as if we're against a control deck. But there's a lot of cards we may want for the controlled matchups, and once again, we're not actually sure what we're up against here. So it's tough. Being on the draw, I'm not in love with the mana creatures. So it's generally just a matter of shaving various cards. Cast down didn't seem like it would match up all that well against what our opponent was trying to do. So it's a little bit of a guessing game. I'm sure that if we lose this game, I will end up making some different decisions. Like I kept a Ravenous Chupacabra in as a bit of a hedge, but that's a card that like is very hit or miss depending on what our opponent's playing. Yeah, only one land there. I think we had to mulligan the first one. This is also pretty bad. It's not great. Like, we're just not really doing very much. Yeah, this is at least, this is the best hand we've seen, even though it's a 5. We just need some early velocity, and the Explore package does give that to us. Alright, so this may be, well, I guess it's some sort of Grixis deck. So Grixis mid-range. I suspect our opponent should take the Merfolk Branchwalker, being that it's the card that enables the Wild Growth Walkers, but it looks like they are in fact not going to do that. Interesting. Ooh, okay. So we drew Thief of Sanity. That's a potentially very good draw. If our opponent doesn't have a way of answering it, then it could be really strong. So the question is whether we want to just jam the Thief now, essentially. Or we can Branchwalker. That's close. It's a close call. Branchwalker allows us to set up our land drops and get the Wild Growth Walker. I think I'm going to Branchwalker. Keep in mind, our opponent did keep a card on top of their library, so I assume that they have some type of interaction here. Okay, it's actually a Carnival, so that wasn't really the type of interaction I was expecting, per se. I was expecting more like a cast down type of card. So we can't afford to keep that Carnage Tyrant, that Carny T, unfortunately. We can still play the Thief next turn, but this is something like a Nicol Bolas or... Oh, that is brutal. That was absolutely brutal. Carnival, yeah. Well, that makes me feel real bad for taking this line, because if we had played the Thief of Sanity the turn before, maybe our opponent just didn't have an answer to it. And now we are just getting absolutely wrecked. Yeah, this does nothing, but we'll play it out there. So now we're getting a much better idea at what's in our opponent's deck. That is the positive aspect of all of this. Okay, so maybe they've had this Contempt the whole time. And keep in mind, we did mulligan to 5 here. Okay, we're done. We saw a decent amount of our opponent's deck here.
A chase stokes the forge.
So that is the good news. I don't think we want this Chupacabra. Vivian Reed seems probably like something we're looking for. Contempt. Brontonon actually, maybe not. Maybe not Brontonon. We didn't see artifacts and enchantments per se. So it might be right to have a couple Llanowar Elves. Not sure how many we actually want. And it's about kind of adapting on the fly a little bit. Alright. Well, this is definitely a much better hand than what we had last game. Pretty happy with it. We do need that blue mana source. That is part of the cost of splashing, is the mana gets a little bit worse than just straight black-green. So we can actually lead off in Duress, having drawn that, which I kind of like. Gives us a better idea of what's actually going on in this game. Okay, there's a cast down. So we see Ritual of Soot, the Carnival Carnage, which is basically... So our opponent has a lot of discard, right? Double Nicol Bolas and the Carnival Carnage, which is worrisome. It's pretty worrisome. I think we just take the split card here. The Ritual of Soot could be good as well, though. This is actually kind of tough. I'm gonna try taking the split card. We are definitely worried about our hand being attacked. The Wild Growth Walker isn't what we're looking for now. Especially giving our opponent the Ritual of Soot. So we're still looking for a blue source. Our opponent can Ritual or play Nicol Bolas here. If they Ritual, they get rid of our two dudes. The thing is that we also need an answer to Nicol Bolas, so I don't consider this the end of the world by any means. And there's the blue source. So we're actually okay now. And that's a great card to see on top of our library. The Eldest Reborn. Now, if our opponent played another discard spell, like a Carnage here, that would be really bad. So we have to discard... If we discard the Krasis, we get to play empty-handed, which is a benefit, because... So say we discard the land and then play the Eldest Reborn, it doesn't really work out for us. So I think we have to unfortunately discard the Hydroid Krasis, because we want to be Hellbent here, as our opponent can just play that other Nicol Bolas that they have. And so we have a lot of good draws, right? We're playing to our... we're playing off the top of our library, but... that's somewhat okay. The key turn was whether or not to take the Nicol Bolas or the Ritual of Soot. Or, sorry, the Nicol Bolas or the Carnage. Still, honestly, not totally sure on which was right there. I guess we'll see. Our opponent can possibly turbo transform Nicol Bolas, so that's kind of tough to deal with here. But maybe they don't have... They may not have the land to do that. Oh wow, Golden Demise. That is kind of a blowout. We found Negate. I guess we just get this Nicol Bolas. We can't transform it though, because it would go onto the battlefield under our opponent's control. So if they draw a land, we're in a really, really rough spot. But if we draw a removal spell, like a Vivian Reed, even something like a Find Finality would be good. Krasis would be pretty good. We have a decent amount of draws. I think we're getting in there. I mean, we would love this trade. Absolutely love the trade. If for some reason our opponent was to block. We're not in a good spot because, yeah, especially with that land. So now our opponent can flip that Nicol Bolas, which I assume they're going to do.
Before your God.
Well, that's rough. Not gonna lie. We still have a couple draws. Like we could draw. I mean, anything that gets rid of this would be good. And we have this 4/4. Our opponent may just kill the Nicol Bolas, I would think. There's an argument to drawing 2 cards. There's an argument to returning something, but yeah, this makes sense. So we really needed an answer right there. We do have an answer on top, though. So our opponent gets to draw 3 cards, I guess. Although they could...
My knowledge is endless.
Yeah. They get to draw 3 cards. 1 for draw step and then 2 there. So we're just hoping that they bricked off pretty hard. Not sure why our opponents... I think our opponent just wished us a good game. I'm not really sure why. This game, even if this resolves, it's very far from over. Like, we just have a 3/2 Merfolk Branchwalker. That's it. But now, ooh. So we are actually just drawing out of this. Get in there, Vivian Reed. Do your thing.
You can't stop nature.
Ooh. Yeah, Playcrafter is another really nice answer. It looks like our opponent has theoretically just completely bricked off. So, yeah, close one. Somehow outdrew our opponent there in the end. But sometimes you put yourself in that spot. You just need to top deck. And we definitely top decked. We top decked our way out. Vraska's Contempt. That is still a good card, as it turns out. Yikes, yikes. We would, I mean, if we draw a land, this hand is great, but... Ugh. Wow. I think we have to keep this, honestly. We're on 6 already. We get a scry. So hopefully we scry into a land. Even though it's a woodland cemetery, which does mean our lands are coming into play tapped. We can go land where else on turn 2. Not the most exciting start in the world. Basic island, though. So, that could mean mono blue. It could mean, well, a few different decks. But, yeah, so this means mono blue at this point, I believe. Double island. Almost certainly. Which is a pretty tough matchup if that is the case. We could also Branch Walker here because we drew the Overgrown Tomb. But I'm not going to. I suspect a Merfolk Trickster here, maybe. Little Flash 2/2. See if our opponent... No. Okay. Normally the mono blue deck, you know, has something has creatures to start the game. So it's also possible that they just have a bunch of counters and dive downs and that type of thing. Curious Obsession is a card you need, of course, a creature for it to be good. Okay. So there's the Trickster. So that means we're not going to be able to Chupacabra this turn, but we can Branch Walker. We're looking for blue mana. Huh. Do we want this Branch Walker? I don't think so. So we can just block the Trickster and trade off, which is fine. And it also means that our opponent probably doesn't want a Curious Obsession onto the Trickster here. I mean, they might, so they could Obsession plus Dive Down if they had that. But it looks like they did not. So we're digging for lands. We'll see if our opponent wants to use a counter. Okay. Don't think we want to attack here. Like, yeah, we could trade these, but there's really not a rush to do that. And so part of the nice thing about the Hydroid Krasis is if we draw a blue land, we still get the trigger, the cast trigger, even if it gets countered. And by the way, I'm sorry if I don't, like, I've always been wondering how to pronounce this. It's either Krasis or Krasis. I assume it's Krasis, but been having that debate. So, I assume we just make our opponent use a counterspell here. Okay. So that gets quenched. I think we can get in with the small Branch Walker. I mean, our opponent could have some things that would punish that, but Ooh. Now it's time for Tempest Djinn. Well, we can also go Wild Growth plus Jade Light here, which seems pretty strong. If we go Chupacabra, pretty decent chance that our opponent has a dive down. Another Jade Light. I think we keep that. Like, we have a Wild Growth Walker in play, and so we can just let the Wild Growth Walker kind of do its thing. I wouldn't be surprised if our opponent puts an Obsession on the Tempest Djinn here. Okay. Playing a second one I'm not really as concerned about. I think we want to Krasis here. We can't play multiple things this turn, and so our opponent probably has a counter. And then next turn, like this there's a good chance this does not actually resolve, but next turn we can probably Jade Light and Chupacabra, or Jade Light and Hostage Taker. So we still go up to 23. I guess we completely missed there in terms of lands. But the life gain on the Wild Growth Walker is really important. Because it means that, yes, we may be taking 12 here. I mean, it's close. We definitely can just lose to these Tempest Djinns fairly easily. Depends what those last couple cards are that our opponent has been carefully holding on to. Looks like one of them is an Obsession. It's pretty strong here, not gonna lie. So this is the point in the game where if the opponent just draws a bunch of counter spells, it's pretty hard for us to win. I think we want to just jam Jade Light Ranger here. We could go Wild Growth and then Jade Light, but then if the Jade Light gets countered, we are in a really bad spot. Yeah, I think we start on Jade Light. Also, our opponent may not counter it. Ooh, that's actually a pretty good play. So the Trickster can stop the Wild Growth Walker. Do we want another Krasis? I mean, we already have one, so I don't think so. I think we want to just try for a Chupacabra here. Now, we do have to be worried a bit about dive down, but it looks like our opponent did not have it there, so that's good. So that ended up working out pretty well. We got the land. We were able to get that Djinn off the table, and now like we're in a much better spot. Just kind of going wide at this point. Okay, Sphinx of Foresight. That's pretty good, although... So we have the Hostage Taker. We could potentially Hostage Taker one of these and just play it. Looks like our opponent realizes that their window to win has been closing. So the hand's kind of awkward. We kind of want a Hostage Taker. We kind of want to be attacking. We have a lot of stuff in play. We kind of want a Krasis as well. You can just play a 5/5. Kind of want to just Krasis this turn. Just having the big... It's hard for the mono blue deck to answer a big creature. They do have cards like Sleep sometimes, which would be the ultimate blowout card here, basically. But otherwise, this seems like a pretty decent board. And it also plays a bit around dive down in case our opponent had just drawn a dive down for their last previous draw step. So, okay. I assume that we are not just dead here. Sleep would be straight lethal, but other than that, I don't see a lethal attack. And if we're able to trade off flyers, that would be a big win. I think we're just jamming out here with the Krasis. Assume our opponent might have a counterspell, but just drawing four additional cards and gaining a bunch more life is absolutely huge. And this is kind of how this is how the deck closes games out. So yes, our opponent has a scry each turn, but that's not really gonna worry us too much in this spot. We can find the Krasis's back. We actually drew all of we found all of them this game. So yeah, find seems really good here. Perfectly fine with that trade. Yeah, I think we've taken control of this one now. So, few different options. I think I'm gonna start with Hostage Taker. See if this works out. So it did work out. I think we are just gonna cast this. I guess I'll do it right now. Do we want to attack? I guess our opponent's just conceding. Our board just got too big. We didn't need to put a ton of pressure. We just kind of slowly built up our board there and had enough to defend ourselves. This matchup is actually pretty bad generally for our type of deck. There's not that much that we have to sideboard in. Cry of Carnarium is hit or miss, especially against the versions with a lot of these flyers. But yeah, not too pleased with the options. It's weird. I think there's a chance we're just supposed to run this back. I guess taking out Karn is probably smart. Duress is actually... So Duress is a pretty reasonable option just as a way to nab counter magic to be able to force a key spell through. All of our removal is great. We don't have that much of it, though. The edict effects are a little bit more iffy, like the Plague Crafter and the Eldest Reborn that we do have in our sideboard there. If you wanted a better mono blue matchup, there's definitely cards you can add. You can add cast downs, you can add crushing canopies or whatever. I even played Plummet in my Golgari deck. Played that before. So anyways, the matchup is still winnable, like we saw from the first game. So we actually drew our sideboard card. Well, we have a good Wild Growth Walker draw. We probably want to Duress on turn 1 because we don't want to get Obsession just completely out of the game. So yeah, let's do that. Alright, well, Wizard's Retort is definitely the more problematic. So this is big, right? We take the Retort, which means now our opponent can't counter the Wild Growth Walker. And that is a really incredibly important card in our hand. Not only that, but we know about the Spell Pierce, so we can try to maneuver around it. So I guess the question here will be, do we shock in J-Light or just play Branch Walker? Considering our opponent could have a counterspell, I feel like we're not in a huge rush. And then we can just Jade-Light next turn. Saves us a little bit of damage potentially. And without a big flyer here, our opponent isn't able to muster up a huge offense. So we're in a pretty good spot. All right, so if they tap out here as they're doing, we may just want to use the cast down while we can to get rid of the Sphinx. And I do believe that that's the play. We are just reasonably ahead. We know about the Spell Pierce and even the on-board protection in the Storm Tabers. So that was our window, really, to use that cast down. And sometimes the mono blue deck has these draws, right? Where you just kind of don't do a whole lot. Although, wow, so that's actually pretty darn good. Our opponent just stole our Wild Growth Walker. That's rude. So now what do we do? Well, we could cast down if we want to. We can also just Jade Light. Huh. I think we cast down while we can. Yeah, I think we're supposed to cast down here, but that definitely threw the game, threw me off a bit. That was good. The Entrancing Melody was good for our opponent, not for us. I should clarify that. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Well, we drew a removal. So we just try to kill things and bash. This Branch Walker has been doing some real work. And it may get to the point where our opponent just has to trade both of these 1/1s for our Branch Walker. That's possible. The hope here was to run the mono blue deck out of threats, but keep playing annoying stuff. Don't think we want duress. We're looking for lands. There's a land. So this is the time for Krasis. It may be Krasis time. Entrancing Melody can be good though. It's definitely kept our opponent in this game. I assume we just attack and trade here. And then play our Fatty Boom Boom. There's a chance our opponent doesn't block. I guess that's what they're thinking about. So, once again, even if this gets countered, we're still getting a big advantage out of it. So we do know about that Spell Pierce still, as we see. Duress. Duress is interesting. I think we Duress here. We can play just our 2 Explore creatures. Not in love with Shocking, and there's a decent chance that our opponent just has a counter in hand that we get. They can also counter it, so that would indicate to me that our opponent likely has a counter spell that they're trying to protect besides the Spell Pierce. But I guess since they're letting these resolve, that may not be the case. So we're just going to keep these 2 Vivians on top of our library. Or not the 2 Vivians. We're going to keep 1 on top, 1 in hand, and we're just going to... Those are going to be our plays. We have 7 lands, so 1 Spell Pierce doesn't answer a Vivian. Ooh. That was the card I mentioned before, Sleep. can be pretty strong. Not great here, though. And I don't really see how our opponent gets out of this at this point.
The wild wasn't meant. I've seen things that would break someone like you.
Let's play another threat. GG. We're moving up. 2-0 so far. Yuck. No green mana in that one. This one is also real bad. Oof. Well, this might be a very short game, but I'm going to keep this hand. Hope to get there. Probably won't get there. We draw straight running lands. There's one. If we draw a land and start casting the Jade Lights, that'd be nice. Swamp treasure map. Okay. Is this the chromatic black deck? I assume it is. Ooh, Josu Vets. That's a strong card. Looking for black land. Nope. Not there. When you mull a 5, you want your Jade Lights to be good. That Jade Light wasn't particularly good. Vivian can get rid of artifacts, notably. I think we're just attacking and playing Karn here. I do love a Karn Father. Oh, so we get a land. Nice. Our opponent smartly did not give us the black source. These artifacts are pretty annoying.
Only hurting yourself.
Yeah, chromatic lantern. Huh. I think we're just playing... Oh, well, now we can contempt here. So I assume we want to do that. and play a Branch Walker. But these artifacts are really, really adding up. Josu is a really strong late game play too, because our opponent can potentially kick a Josu at some point. The thematic compass, I believe, is also flipping here. Not sure exactly what that was about. Okay, Ritual of Soot. That makes sense. Continue to go up with Karn.
A curious choice.
So I think we're supposed to Vivian here. I'm not positive. I guess our opponent has treasures and the spires, so like maybe the Chromatic Lantern is not what we're supposed to go after with Vivian. You can also just take out the treasure map. Treasure map is really good as the game progresses.
How this thing goes is up to you.
I think I'm gonna go with that. Just kind of hope our opponent doesn't have the goods. The Masterminds acquisition for the insane sideboard package options. Uh-oh. Yep, so there's the acquisition. That's bad. Guess we'll see in a minute what our opponent found. Star of Extinction.
There are greater battles.
Not dead yet.
So our opponent still could have cast that even without the lantern in play, with off of treasures. But yeah, that was really strong for our opponent for sure. We haven't found a Krasis yet, which is kind of annoying. So we could find. We drew a find. I think I will go ahead and find back a Wild Growth and a Branch Walker. This is going to allow us to get our Wild Growth Walker going again a little bit. Especially given that we already have a Jade Light in hand. I think we keep that. At least we got rid of the treasure map before our Vivian Reed died. So yeah, the treasures can produce colored mana for cards like Star. They can also just be used for the Treasure Cove, so they're valuable. We'll see what else is coming with this Masterminds acquisition, but I'm definitely not loving our chances at this point. I guess we could have... I think there's a Brontodon in here. No, there isn't a Brontodon. The Brontodon, I guess... Brontodon got... Yeah, the Brontodon got exiled, that's right. Well, that's pretty strong. Nezahal. I think we keep that. And just pass. We don't really want to cast on creature spells. Let's see, does our opponent still have more gasoline? It looks like they may. Looks like they may. Ooh. I wonder why they didn't Krasis for more. I mean, that's still really good. And a Ritual of Soot. Ouch. Can we still come back from this? Not sure, honestly. I guess we play Vivian, tick it up.
Would you like to see what's left of Meet my newest friend.
Hostage Taker seems pretty decent. But the Nezahal, yeah, Nezahal is really strong. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this one. Our opponent can just flicker this out and yeah. Concede that game. I think we want Duresses negate. We want a lot of our interaction stuff. We do have to be worried about Ritual of Soot for sure. Contempt, we're just rotting away in our hand that game. So I don't think we want those. Elders Reborn, Carnage Tyrant. Thief is pretty good. Don't think Wild Growth Walker is actually that strong in this matchup. We're just kind of playing for this for our late game, more or less. All right. Not sure if we want Hostage Taker or not. there. Seems pretty decent. Hopefully we can hit our third land, and then we get to go Duress, Branchwalker, into Jade Light, into Brontodon. The Mastermind's Acquisition is really kind of a tricky deck to play against. Alright, let's see what we're up against. So, we can't take the Josu. There is a Lantern in the hand. There's also a Ritual of Soot. And the Eldest Reborn, huh? I think we take the Ritual, most likely. Yeah. I think it's Ritual, although I guess the Lantern is important. The Lantern is important to the deck, but we have some ways to get rid of it. I think I'll take the Ritual. That's close. I could see arguments for taking any of those 3 cards. We're hoping to get, you know, lands this game. If we don't get lands, then we're kind of just out of luck. And yeah, we're kind of out of luck, as I was saying. Yep, now the Lantern, and feels bad. Yep, it does. Confirmed feel bads. This was... Okay, well... It's a little late. It's a little bit late. We know about the Eldest Reborn. Gotta think our opponent may just cast that here. And we do kind of have to answer that Eldest Reborn. I think the best way to do that is just with Brontodon. Brontodon and sack it to get rid of this. Because we can't let the Eldest Reborn start bringing back our Vivian Reed in our graveyard. That is a no-no. We still have Carnage Tyrant in hand. Unfortunately, we are letting our opponent kind of do their thing now that they have the Lantern. We are at a low life total. I guess we're just playing Vivian here, right? It's either Vivian or Karn. I assume Vivian? And just tick up.
Let's see if you're worthy.
Yeah, worried about the contempt there.
No one knows the wilds like I do.
Definitely want the basic swamp though. This is interesting. If our opponent can use a ton of mana to do something cool, then ooh. Yeah, Krasis. Krasis. Ah. Now I feel like we should have taken out the darn Chromatic Lantern. Feels bad. We are pretty much just dead now. Lesson learned, always take out the Chromatic Lantern, I guess, when playing against this deck. Did our opponent not get rid of our Krasis? That seems odd to me. Uh-oh. More gas.
Let us begin. I'll make use of that later.
So they have another Krasis that we can't really beat coming. So Thief of Sanity plus Krasis can double block here. The rest, do we want to do that? I don't think so, because we kind of... Well, we have to play the Breeding Pool tapped. So I guess we might as well duress. Oh, there's a Zakama there also? Well, that's fairly absurd. Ugh. Man, that Chromatic Lantern has gotten us really, 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 really good. Darn. We had that opportunity. We did have that opportunity to get rid of it. If we Vivian minused... If we had Vivian minused on the Lantern... Maybe we win this game. I'm not sure. I'm not positive about that, but it's certainly possible. We can counter this. But the Karn still gets back the Krasis that's there.
Are you certain of your decision?
I mean, we could draw, I guess, an answer to Karn would keep us alive. Oh, our opponent just has straight up lethal here. Krasis has trample, so. Alright, that was that one. Two and one. Took our first loss. Hopefully we can bounce back. My fault. I'm sorry. If you are... you know, sometimes... I mean, I think that those were tricky decisions. Don't get me wrong. But now... You know, I have more experience playing against the Chromatic deck, and it's tricky. That Chromatic Lantern allows the deck to do some messed up stuff. Alright, well, this is pretty good. We get to Jade Light on turn 2. It's just a Explore Dudes draw. Looks like it may, in fact, be a mirror. Or our opponent could be on straight Golgari. Yeah, we're just going for all the dorks. And by all the dorks, I mean all the dorks. That's a lot of them. Still don't have double black, weirdly enough. So yeah, this may not end well for us. If we don't draw some gas. That's gas.
Come to me.
So we're hoping for no contempt. And then our Vivian can just kind of stay and play and do its thing. Ooh, Midnight Reaper. So I'm just gonna trade with one of these. That keeps our Vivian alive.
The wilds are my shield.
We definitely want the additional black source here, which allows us to get rid of the Midnight Reaper. And I think we want to attack probably with just both. So that was a reasonable turn for us. Our opponent did draw a couple cards off the Midnight Reaper, which is pretty annoying. It looks like they are playing straight Golgari, so this is a matchup that so far I have felt that the blue version is the way to go in this matchup, but we haven't actually drawn a Krasis yet. Maybe we'll grab one here.
Balance comes.
So we did find one. The other option is to get this Jade Light, which is also pretty good because we have the Wild Growth Walker. We could go Jade Light plus Walker, or we can go Krasis as a 5/5. I think we want the Jade Light. Actually, we've got enough gas now, and this puts the Wild Growth Walker out of finality range as well. Although finality is still good here because I think we do have to play out our Brontodon. So finality would kill 4 of our creatures if our opponent has that. Hopefully they do not. Yeah. Finality is the card we're hoping to dodge. Okay. Vivian is manageable. Ooh. Surprised about the attack, so I guess we can play around some stuff here. We don't necessarily need to throw our Wild Growth Walker in the way. I think we just block like this. That actually was a great trade for us. And we can still attack the Vivian. So I'm not sure what our opponent was actually doing there with that attack.
The wilds are my shield.
Now I think we want the Krasis. Yeah. I think so. I think we're jamming it. We can jam it for Big dude. Full grip of 7 cards. We're gonna try to get rid of the Vivian. So that was just an amazing sequence of turns. Not sure our opponent should have thrown their Carnage Tyrant away as they did, but we will accept it. And now there's really no way. I don't think there's a way our opponent can really recover it. The Find gets back. We actually have a Chupacabra in there as well. We can get back.
No one knows the wilds like I do.
We could go crazy with Wild Growth Walker. Yeah, this is where things just get absurd. I think we're just cast downing our opponent's Wild Growth Walker. And this game is over at this point. Good old 47 life. We'll accept that to end the game. Sideboard, I think we want Carney T, the Eldest Reborn. Thief of Sanity is close. I don't think we want Brontodon. And Hostage Taker I also not in love with. Against Explore creatures, if they get rid of it, it can be not that great. So this is a 60. Thief I like more on the play if we lose. Cast Down is also not great. But it does get rid of an early Wild Growth Walker on the draw, which is pretty important. Or if our opponent plays a... Well, they're not playing blue, so they're not going to have Thief, but... We have the late game advantage, so I think having 2 cast downs on the draw is fine. A lot of players will just board out their cast downs, but... This seems good. We accept. Okay. Carney T. Looks like our opponent is looking for lands, probably. So our Wild Growth Walker is going to look pretty nice here. Interesting, our opponent didn't attack. Kind of expecting them to. We accept. Vivian Reed is great. Golgari Finebroker. Interesting. Do not make that attack. That would be a bad attack to send those in. Here we have a bit of a decision. I think we want to just jam Vivian. It's possible that our opponent has removal, and then can attack it and kill it, but I think it's too high upside
To see what you can't stop nature.
to not play it here. This is kind of tough. Alright, well I guess our opponent doesn't have the removal, so they're just going to concede. We were going to have to decide there between Krasis and Carney T, but... So that's kind of how that matchup has gone for me so far. The Golgari, regular Golgari versus Golgari with Krasis. Okay, yeah. Wild Growth Walker into Explore, dudes. That seems to be a theme with our hands. Hallowed Fountain looks like a new matchup. Jeskai. So we can play the Jade Light next turn and then potentially Branch Walker and a second Wild Growth Walker on the following turn and just try to get super aggressive. And I think that may be the correct strategy. Although now we drew a Llanowar Elves. The issue is that if we play these two, we can just get completely blown out by a Clarion. If we go Wild Growth Walker and Llanowar Elves, so we do get sabotaged. Interesting that our opponent's playing Sabotage and not Absorb. Never mind. Spoke way too soon on that. Our opponent is playing Absorb. So now we have a decision. I think we just play the Branch Walker to play around Clarion. Not in love with Contempt here. Crackling Drake. That's pretty good. So I think we just find our two dudes. And I think we're just playing this. It's going to allow us to be able to get an attack in. Hopefully we'll find more Explore creatures for these. Like, we do have one on top of our deck. I think we just keep that. And we've managed to make a big Wild Growth Walker that's capable of attacking. And gain a lot of life. Whether that's going to be good enough, I can't really say. Our opponent, it turns out, did have the Deafening Clarion. Ooh. That's a pretty rough sequence for us. And our opponent gains 6 life. So we're just going to do what we can here. In fact, I think we just dump these all into play. Maybe? It's actually kind of a tough decision. Not sure which is right. This plays around additional Clarions in a way. Which is kind of nice. So we're gaining enough life that it's like our opponent's not necessarily winning the race. Yeah.
This isn't a. Let's skip to the good part.
Teferi's good. Well, I guess we can find back some explore dudes. Never mind. Cannot do that. So we can attack. But our opponent has kind of had everything in this game.
Want me to phase you out of time? You know what? I'm not done yet.
I'm worried about settle now if our opponent's attacking. I don't think we can really play around it though. So we will see. Okay.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
Still not in a particularly good spot. A lot of players are playing Esper right now instead of Jeskai, but Jeskai still is strong as well. And we may just die to this Drake after all. Let's try to get rid of it. Okay. So we got rid of it. That's interesting. I think we're sending most of our team at Teferi. I'm just gonna send the entire team at Teferi, try to get rid of it. So we killed Teferi. Now we have to deal with a Nimizit. That's just great. That's just great. Yeah, we're not dealing with Nimizit. Okay. Didn't think we were gonna win that game for a while there. So we do have a lot of options though as far as sideboarding. Playcrafter, yeah, a ton of options. We don't want to really open ourselves up too much to Deafening Clarion. That's kind of the goal. after sideboard. Having seen Nimizit and Crackling Drake, I do kind of like the Chupacabra. We didn't draw much of Hydroid Krasis that game, so that was unfortunate. And we're just going much slower. This game. All right, I guess we keep. It's a running theme to have a wild growth and an explorer dude. I think we sideboarded out most of our wild growths. I think this might be the only one in the deck, so it's kind of funny to actually draw it here. Although we may just get mana screwed, but we're gonna try our best. Hiya! Let's get a land. Land? No. No land. What is this? Alright. Our opponent shocked there and didn't use their mana, I believe. So we do have negate. I mean, we're just holding up negate. Getting our dudes in there. This could be, weirdly enough, this could just be enough. No, it's not going to be. Alright, we need a land here, which we found. Perfect. Our opponent has not done too much this game. Our hand has a lot of stuff in it. That's gonna probably, well, yeah, it is gonna minus on the Wild Growth Walker there. So I think we take Teferi out, and then I'm just gonna play out a small Krasis. Clarion would be pretty bad for us, though. Hopefully our opponent does not have that. Although they probably would have cast it earlier if they had it. If we're able to if our opponent just passes, that's great, because we have Duress, we have Negate, we have Contempt. Okay, Niv Mizzet. We can Vivian read that. Oh, okay, there's the Wild Growth Walker that was previously put on top of our library.
I lived through hell to lose. No one said restoration was painless.
So we get to put our opponent to 2 now and force them to have something to survive, like a Clarion. Do they have it? Do they have it? Nope. Okay, game 3. So we know that they're keeping in their they're Nivs and Drakes, which are... I don't know that actually means we change our plan, but it's definitely relevant information. I think even though the Wild Growth Walker was good that game, it does get worse on the draw. And is not a particularly good top deck. Sometimes these games just come down to top decks because both of our decks have such good late game. This is not the fastest hand I've ever seen, but that's fine. In this matchup, it's fine. Give us a land. We want a land. Alright. Ask and you shall receive. So debating which of these to play, but I think I should have played this one. Because we are going to want to hold up the Disdainful Stroke. It's pretty unlikely our opponent... Well, they could play a Drake here. But I guess we would probably want to stroke. Not that many 4-mana cards they're actually going to play that we care about stroking. So I think we try to play Karn. Super good if it resolves. But did not resolve. So now if our opponent just drops it to Fairy, we are in a rough spot. They did not. So I think we just have to pass here. Counter this, I think. I know that a lot of players don't like countering the chemisters, but in these types of spots, we need to use our Disdainful Strokes. This we can Chupacabra. Or Vivian. Vivian is better.
Wasn't me. Get that out of here.
Get that out of here. See ya. All right. Well, the game is starting to look much better for us. I think we're just playing Carnage Tyrant now. Like, it seems super high upside. Our opponent would need, like, what, a cleansing Nova, something like that, to get rid of it. They can't Starve Extinction because they only have 5 lands in play. They could Clarion. They could Clarion twice. Okay, they actually have the Cleansing Nova. So that was one of the cards that I did say they could have.
I've seen things that would break someone like you.
Probably just take another land at this point. Lots of reasonably good options, honestly. I think we just play the Thief and pass. Hold up the Stroke, which is really valuable to have. Okay. So we're happy we didn't also extend into that with the Jade Light. And we're still just getting a huge advantage off of our Vivian.
Balance comes.
I think we may just Krasis here for enough to be able to hold up our Stroke. Because we actually would start to just discard to hand size at a certain point. Really no rush. We've got a pretty big edge, I think, now. With just holding the Disdainful Stroke, continually upticking Vivian. We can go for the Stroke here. I think we do. It may get countered, but that's still not the end of the world.
Sorry I'm late. We need to move quickly.
Okay, so I was wondering if our opponent might minus on Vivian. Looks like they didn't. Ooh. The Eldest Reborn. That is a sweet draw. I think I'm going to hold that, though, in case of a counter here. Just go for the Contempt. Maybe our opponent counters this, and if they do, we can plus the Vivian, get a land, and then Eldest Reborn.
I've seen things that would break someone like you.
So I think we just go for that play, which is pretty devastating. We're just continually gaining an edge every single turn that goes by, more or less. Okay, Explosion is good.
Be like that, huh?
That's one of the cards that is really strong in the late game.
Balance comes.
Couple options here. We could Krasis, although not sure it's the right time. Because we don't really want to be discarded to hand size, as I already mentioned. When we have other plays. I think Carnage Tyrant is worth keeping. So we have plenty of answers to potential threats that our opponent could put onto the battlefield here. We get to get something back, actually, with the Eldest Reborn. Which, there's a lot of decent options. Teferi is one. Do we want a Teferi? Probably. Yeah. Probably just Teferi. I think so.
I'm known for my excellent timing. Hold that thought.
We are just drawing so many cards here. It's a duress. Could get countered, I guess. Okay, yeah. I should have taken the Vivian up first. That was a mistake.
I'll be back.
I don't
Just
think it's
like
going to matter
before.
too much. Get a star. And play the Carnage Tyrant. So we've now created another lethal threat. Probably. Anyways, we created another lethal threat. I think we have this game. I don't think I sequenced that turn perfectly. Sorry. Sometimes these turns, there's a lot going on with them. I should have gone uptick, then duress. But we're going to be able to get rid of this Drake, and then... Or we can get rid of both of these Drakes. Even though they are absolutely massive. I guess our opponent could have... No, they can't even have Absorb here with the mana. They could Syncopate. That's fine. Whatever. Not really a big deal. I think our opponent already knows about the Playcrafter. So we might as well play that one.
Let's take it back.
And we got there. Got there that match. So we are 4-1, going for the five wins. This is going to be the last match either way. Can we get there? Can we get there is the question. Lots going on with this deck. Lots to think about. It can be Control. We just saw it beat Jeskai. All right. We accept. So, what is that? A Simic Gate. Simic Gate. I think we want a Druid here. If we draw a land, we potentially just want to adapt the Druid next turn. Open the gates. We are playing against a gate strategy, which might not be good news for us. Well, we didn't draw land, so we're going to look to find land. There's a land. That being said, our creatures could get just swept off the battlefield here, potentially. Hopefully that does not happen. I'm going to adapt. We want a blue mana, a blue land to be able to Krasis. But making the Incubation Druid have 5 toughness seems pretty decent. Did our opponent just not put a land in off this growth spiral? Okay. So maybe they're either just didn't put a land. Okay. So yeah, having the high toughness on the Druid there was really good. Unfortunately, we don't have the blue land, blue mana. So that is the big problem here. If we draw a blue land, we can play a sizable Hydroid Krasis though. Ram is good. Ugh, man, this is rough. I haven't seen mana issues like this with this deck so far. Incubation Druid unfortunately cannot produce a land of any type. Feels like if we just had the blue land, we would win this game. Man, rough spot. We could block this, but I don't think we want to. We could still draw a blue land off the branch right there. We did. We found a blue land. So now I think we are hostage takering the ram. We can replay it. And we have a big board. But now unfortunately, now the Gates deck has fully set up and is worried about another sweeper, and there is another sweeper. So, unfortunate. We're gonna play our Krasis though. See what it can do. Ooh, that's bad. Our opponent can now draw a bunch of cards off this Guild Summit. Oh. Oh, Gate Colossus as well. Well, we're gonna try to go on this beatdown plan of just playing these and hoping it's good enough, which it probably won't be good enough. But we are presenting lethal next turn. If we actually are able to swing for lethal, I would be shocked though. Our opponent has access to so many cards at this point. Feels pretty unlikely. Yeah, there's Gates Ablaze, the third sweeper of the game, which is pretty strong. That is pretty strong. Oh, and a ram. So we can get rid of one of these, like get rid of the ram, but then we still have to deal with this thing. Doesn't look good. Fighting the good fight. Oh, never mind. We are just dead. Negating our Vraska's content. Well, we had some mana problems. Hopefully those don't happen again. We're going to board in a lot of the cards that we've been boarding in, really. And we saw a lot of sweepers, so we have to be very worried about sweepers. Don't want our cast downs. Very similar strategy to when we played against Jeskai, actually. Pretty similar strategy. Negate is actually only okay. I think we still keep it in. Our opponent doesn't have many enchantments. Brontodon is nice, but not great. I think that'll be the last cut there. Kind of doing a bit of shaving and trimming, which is sometimes where you want to be with these Golgari style strategies. Leaving in a couple elves so that if we do draw one in our opener, it's good, but okay. This is fine. It's kind of interesting to whether or not we want to duress here on turn 1 or wait for more information. I guess I'll duress. So it's either routes or a blaze. Then Gate Colossus, Ram. So those are the threats that we're gonna have to deal with somehow. So Gates Ablaze versus route. I guess we take the route. Hopefully we can try to navigate around the blaze somewhat. Alright, Brontodon, do your 3/4 thing. Big ol' Bronte. So we could just play this out, which I don't think is unreasonable. Our opponent may just Gates Ablaze these two, but we can then find them back, and we're at least drawing a card off of it. Ooh, basic mounted. So that they're not able to Gates Ablaze our board this turn. That being said, that circuitous route was fairly good. We're definitely gonna negate the Gates Ablaze. We will be doing that. Okay, so this is going decently well in terms of sequencing for us. That being said, our opponent still has some decent stuff left in their hand. With the Colossus and then 3 unknowns, it's still not a great spot to be in. Especially now that Cleansing Nova has resolved. Although, our opponent is down to just 1 card. Brontodon isn't bad here. It actually gets rid of the Gate Colossus. That card does happen to be an artifact. I kind of want to take this hit, though, and try to get back the Gate Colossus. I want to take this. I want to take this hit and try to get back the Gate Colossus with the Eldest Reborn. So yeah, I'm gonna take this. We are not gonna block. This means that we can say our opponent has a gate in hand. They can't now use that. They can't just play the gate and get the Colossus back, so now we can try to get the Colossus back. So that's kind of the sequencing I was talking about. And it ends up working out for us. Now a nice big Krasis, and all of a sudden things are looking pretty good. Hopefully no, like, Cleansing Nova or whatever. Oh, man. Another Nova. That's rough. Well, we have a Duress, so that's pretty good. Oh, but our opponent has a Archway Angel. Well, we can play another big Krasis. That's a lot of life, though, that our opponent just gained. That's for sure. So we've got access to 9 mana. Kind of like the Jade Light play. Though it's probably safest to just Vivian Reed and hold up Disdainful Stroke.
I've lost so much already. Sometimes restoration means retribution.
I think we're still pretty far ahead here because of the Krasis drawing us so much gas. That's right. Now the Gate Colossus can come back, but it's not actually that relevant anymore. All the Vivians.
The wilds are my shield.
More Krasises. That's pretty sweet. Don't think we're... Yeah. Our opponent realizes that they are done for that game. So that sideboard plan felt good, although on the draw I don't think we want any Wild Growth Walkers. Just play a couple more spot removal spells. Also not sure on Brontodon, although it kills. We saw that interaction be reasonable for us. Getting rid of the big old gate artifact. Alright, last game. Will we win in 5-0? That is the question. I think this is worth a keep. Not an amazing hand, but hey, our opponent's mulled 5, so I think because of that we are favored, not because this hand is any good. But we have a Jade Light and a Krasis and a, we don't have a black mana, but yeah, it's borderline. Still, the Gates deck can have some really good curve outs, like if they just ramp out to like or have a Guild Summit draw, we could still be in trouble, even with 7 cards versus their 5. Okay. Ooh, Thief of Sanity. I think we want to play that. That's a really nice threat to have access to in this spot. So, didn't have a sweeper there to use. Alright, well, that's not the card we wanted to get. Cast down, of course, we're going to keep that. It deals with the ram, which is perfect. I think we're just trying to cast this down. It might get countered, I guess, if our opponent has counters. Ooh. Yikes. Wasn't expecting that. I mean, yeah. Results-oriented thinking, I should have attacked first, but that's alright. We still have a decent amount of stuff to play. We may even get to cast this Gate Colossus. Yeah. Figured our opponent had this card. It's definitely a strong magic card. Although we are not running out of gas. Even if our opponent starts answering our stuff. Ooh, Ixalan's Binding. That was about the best thing our opponent could have played. That's unfortunate. So we're going to get rid of the Colossus and definitely getting in there. I don't think there's much else to do. We can actually next turn play this Gate Colossus if we want to, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, I think that's the play. Get in there. Get in there, Gate Colossus. Do your thing. Uh-oh. Yeah, Guild Summit's really, really good. We have Vivian and Brontodon that can answer these enchantments. I think we're just getting in there. We can find back Jade Light, which seems pretty good. So yeah, I think because we have 2 finds, we should probably just use a find. Do we want Duress? Not sure. I think I'll graveyard that. Vivian we definitely want. I think we just play out the Branchwalker now. We have this Disdainful Stroke. So, yeah, we're just kind of crossing our fingers a little bit now. Gates Ablaze would be really strong. Gates Ablaze and Clarion are the cards we don't want our opponent to have. But we also just can't afford to sit back for forever. So they have 7 gates. So the Blaze wouldn't actually kill the Colossus at the moment. Okay, that's good for us. If our opponent's just playing a Guild Summit, that is pretty much exactly what we were hoping for. So they're digging there, trying to find a Blaze or a Clarion. This we can just counter. So we have Vivian on top. I think we have this one. I believe we have this one. We can play Vivian. And then just minus on...
How this thing goes is up to you.
We can minus on the Colossus, and then we just have lethal. I believe we have lethal. Is that it? Did we do it? Yes, we did. We got it done with our Sultai Krasis deck. Sweet. Well, that was quite the series of games there. It was enjoyable. So, awesome. Alright. We got some sweet rewards here. Ooh, Charnel Troll. I could put that in maybe some type of Golgari deck. Who knows? So, anyways, that was it. Lots of fun games there. Lots of interactions. Tough games. Thanks for staying with me through it all. And the deck is real. It might be the #1 deck, honestly, in the format. So, stay tuned for more Golgari Blue. I'm sure you all will be seeing plenty of it moving forward.